Chinkas, Bade, Mokunam, Rupapan, Hanikam, Uvandabidam, Vijwalam, Vedas, Nambakriagatam, Sundaram, Vande Vishnu Gurum Shah Bhagavat Primo Yibhajapadam, Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Pankadate, Krishna Krishna Chaitanya, Namadi Koditi Maha. Vanchagalpa Trivita, Klika Sindhudevacha, Rajitanam Tatmavyo, Vaishnavyo, Namo Namaha, Dandavat. Actually, I'm going to read a verse out of Bhagavad Gita, but before I do that, I was just thinking today is the beginning of Purushottam month. We could say a little bit about Purushottam month. It comes because of the lunar calendar and the Vaishnava calendar that goes by the moon. So it's always coming back, it's always missing. It's not like the solar calendar is pretty accurate, so there's 12 months in a year. But every few years, maybe every 4 years or something like that, in the lunar calendar they put in another month because everything starts going back, so it gets earlier and earlier. You find somebody's birthday in the lunar calendar won't be on the same day every year, it'll be on a different date. Like Gurudev's birthday was, it was 30, I think it was the 13th of December, but sometimes it was like the end of December, once it was on Christmas Day, and different times. That's because of the lunar calendar. So because it keeps on moving back every now and again, they have to put in another month to bring everything back this side. So that is called Purushottam month. Purushottam is Lord Krishna. So this month is personification of Krishna actually, like Kartik is personification of Srimati Radharani. So this month Purushottam is non-different than Kartik month. It's the same. Whatever you perform in the way of devotional service is multiplied by unlimited amounts in this month. And this month starts today and goes to the 15th of June next month. And it's a whole month. So it's always, they always recommend all chant extra rounds, try to do a very extra service, try to do extra reading, anything like that. And the results are multiplied many times. Of course, we can say, well, every month we could do that. It could be Purushottam month every month. Because this Purushottam month, some devotees might think, well, I don't do much during the year, but this Purushottam month, I really do all that, that'll cover the rest of the year. It's one way, it's good too, it's one way of thinking. And it's also considered that every festival, and in some temples in Vrindavan, they have a Janmashtami, and that's like I always say Janmashtami though, because, and it's considered to be Janmashtami, or it's considered to be Balaram's parents, or it's considered to be whatever festival you can have it within this month, and it's bona fide. And some temples in Vrindavan actually do it. So it's recommended that, if you're chanting Hare Krishna a prescribed number of rounds, chant a few extra ones. Or if you're not having a prescribed number of rounds, just chant a few rounds anyway. Because whatever you do in this month the benefit is astronomical. We can't even understand with our puppy brains the benefits that we can receive from performing some devotional activity within this 1 month. So it is recommended, and it begins today. So today is the 17th, isn't it? Yeah. So today is the first day of Purushottam month. So, but every month, every day, every week, every year, every moment can be Purushottam. We can do it all the time, but this does give us some incentive because, of all the benefits we're getting, though that's not really the attitude of a devotee thinking I'll do this because I'll get this. Devotees don't generally think like that, though it is there. It is stated in the scripture that in Purushottam month and in Kartik month all these things are multiplied. So, you know, if somebody is sincerely going along anyway and doing what they do, you know, their prescribed duty, their prescribed service, their prescribed number of rounds, whatever, all through the year, and they just keep on doing that, the priest done, all of a sudden it's, well, you get a great benefit from it. Yeah. So I'm going to, I just thought I'd mention that anyway, because today is the first day of priesthood month, and it's worth, even if we just meditate on this month, you know, we just think about it, and we just think about this. Because devotional service is also not just physical, devotional service is also mental. It can be done, it can be done in the mind. There's a story that some devotees actually do worship Krishna in their mind, and one particular Brahmin, he was worshipping Lord Narayan, he was worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, and all done in his mind. There's a few examples of this actually in the scriptures, but this particular Brahmin, he was a poor man, he didn't have anything, but he'd heard from his guru that if you worship Lord Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan in your mind is non-different from worshipping them with you know, activity, using your body, use your mind is non-different because it's transcendental. So he was doing and cooking opulent offerings and doing all these things for Lord Narayan, and in his meditation he'd meditate, and he was cooking so many nice offerings and so much and that, and he's cooking this sweet rice and he's thinking, I better make sure it's not too hot, I better test it. So he put his finger in the sweet rice in his meditation, and burned his finger in his meditation. It broke his meditation. Burnt the finger in this mental sweet rice. And meanwhile in Vaikuntha, Lakshmi Narayan is sitting there, and Lakshmi noticed that Lord Narayan's smiling, and she asked him, what are you smiling at? And he said, this Brahmin, he's just offering sweet rice, but he's just checking to see if it's cool enough, and he burned his finger mentally. And then they sent an aeroplane, a Vaikuntha aeroplane, to bring this Brahmin to Vaikuntha. There's other examples. There's also Sringananda Brahmachari, when Lord Chaitanya was going to Vrindavan, he said he was going to Vrindavan. So Sringananda Brahmachari, in his meditation, he paved all the roads, and he paved them with all beautiful stones and jewels, and sort of parks on the side of the road, and flowers, and sprinkled all over the roads, and flower gardens, and scented waters and everything. And Lord Chaitanya accepted that, and he was going like that. But then Lord Chaitanya got to Ramakali, and he met with Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and Sringananda Brahmachari is meditating on this road he's building, but he couldn't go past Ramakali. So he couldn't go, nothing wouldn't work, he couldn't go past there. So he said to the other devotees, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu won't go to Vrindavan, you know, this time, because he couldn't get the road to go to Vrindavan. So he realised, and sure enough, so many things happened, and Lord Chaitanya didn't go to Vrindavan that time, mainly because he had thousands of people following him, and Sanatana Goswami had said, it's not such a good idea. I mean, you know, he's advising Lord Chaitanya, but he said, not such a good idea to go to Vrindavan with all these thousands of people. It's not really the way to go on pilgrimage. And Lord Chaitanya thought about it, and he thought, Sanatana's right, you know, and so he ended up going back to Jagannath Puri, and he went to Vrindavan later. So I'm going to read, this is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, a song of the Supreme Lord himself, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And this is chapter 2, text 40. This is a nice verse. We learnt this one years ago, didn't
Yeah, is it no? Custody.
you know this one?
Not never started it.
Nihabrakramana Sustri.
No, not
Nihabrakramana Sustri Prachava Navijate Sapamapiyasya Dhamasya Trete Mahato Bhayat. On this, in this endeavour, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So the purport is activity in Krishna consciousness, or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification, is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even the small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. Ajamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed in the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam. Takvasvadamam jaranam bojam hari bhajam na pakota pati tato yari yatra ka va badram abad amushakam ko vatha apto bhajantam sva dhamata. If someone gives up sense gratificatory pursuits and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part, and what can one gain if his material if one performs his material activities perfectly? As the Christians say, what profit a man if he gains the whole world yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? Material activities and their results end with the body, but work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in his next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmin or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Now this is a really encouraging verse. It's really nice to know that whatever we do in Krishna consciousness, and Prabhupada gives the example of it's like a bank account that you can't draw out of. So it just keeps on building up and building up because nothing's coming out. But every bit of service that we do is going into that bank account, so it's increasing. Right? So if you say if you put a penny away every day, eventually it'll be $100. Eventually, when you put it away every day. So with Krishna consciousness, and Krishna consciousness is not something that we completed in a day or week, or it's a gradual process. It's like Saraswati Thakur said, to reach the ocean of the shore of the material ocean is a gradual process. It's not something that can be done. And Gurudev would always say, you have to make the foundation strong. If you have strong foundations, well, we know we build a building, we need to make foundations that are going to support the building. So, in Krishna consciousness, we need to build a strong foundation instead of trying to move ahead very quickly on shaky ground. Anything could happen. We might be successful, there's a good chance we won't be, But if we take it gradually and we have instruction from a higher source, we have some instruction from some higher Vaishnavas, Guru Srila Prabhupada, we can read his purports in his books. That's building a strong foundation, because what's happening is you're getting the basic principles of Krishna consciousness instilled within us, and that's something that will keep us supported, will help our faith. So we need faith to move ahead in Krishna consciousness. So this path, or this endeavour, in other translations it's called path, is here Srila Prabhupada is talking about bhakti yoga or devotional service. That's the path that is being talked about here. We can understand there's three different paths. There's three paths. There's the path of enjoyment, there's a path of renunciation, and there's a path of dedication. So what's happening in this world is basically the path of mundane enjoyment. So that's what's happening in this world, but there is a difficulty with that, is that, as Isaac Newton says in his third law of relativity, is that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So whatever we do, there's going to be a reaction. So he's basically summing up the law of karma. But, if it's explained like, scientific, like every act, oh yeah, of course, but it's, well, this is karma, so, but actually that's what his third law of relativity is the basic principle of karma. Every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that can be painful. So the Jains, the Buddhists, the followers of Sankaracharya, they are looking to overcome this severe action and reaction, because material nature is very strict. Material nature doesn't bend either way. Even though a child might put his hand in the fire, he doesn't know, he's ignorant, just a child, he doesn't know the fire's going to burn him, but he's burnt anyway. So this is that, it's called the stringent laws of material nature. They don't bend for anyone. So a child will be burnt by fire, and an old man will be burnt by fire anyway. An old man knows that fire will burn, he still gets burnt. A child doesn't know, still gets burnt. So that's what's happening in the material world. These laws of material nature are fixed, and they operate no matter who you are. There's no way around them. So these the Buddhists and followers of Sankara, many, they are looking for relief from this entanglement of action and reaction that is going on. And so they want to retire to something like a dreamless sleep, or a type of samadhi. This is called the impersonal, this is the impersonalist. They don't accept Krishna, they don't accept God. They accept that the Brahman effulgence is the absolute, and from that everything is coming. They don't understand that on the other side of it there's another world. They don't understand that. And Sankaracharya, he was Lord Shiva. He was an incarnation of Lord Shiva. He knew very well what he was doing, because he was doing it under the instructions of Krishna. He told, in this age of Kali, and he told Parvati, in this age of Kali, I will take people away from devotional life and present the impersonal Brahmacharya for them. So many people, they follow that philosophy, and they want to go into that. And there is a feeling of bliss there. Though there's no activity and there's no service, this is a problem. There's no service in the Brahmacharya. There's no activity. Just like a dreamless sleep is described as, where one can spend countless ages in that condition. I mean, But the problem is the soul is active, the spirit soul, the jivatma is active by nature. It's thinking, feeling and willing. So eventually one has to act. It has to happen eventually. You stay there for millenniums, millions and billions of cosmic manifestations, but eventually something happens, and from that uniform sheet of non-differentiated consciousness, then there's some activity. These souls are awakened somehow or other. Sridhar Maharaj called it the spiritual mystery. And they say, well, you know, these souls are awakened there. They have the opportunity to go to the spiritual world or to come to the material world. We chose to come to the material world. And many people ask them why. Why did we choose that? He said, yes, this is a spiritual mystery, but when the soul is awakened in the Brahma Jyoti, and there, you can see the light of the spiritual world, and you can see the darkness of the material world. I can be, and the soul by nature is bright, brilliant light. I can be a master of that world. So they come here. No, mostly they go there apparently. So mostly they go to the spiritual world, but some come here and become entangled in this material activity. So when the soul first comes to the material world, they take a position like that of Lord Brahma. Not necessarily Lord Brahma, but like that of Lord Brahma. And gradually becomes more and more entangled in activities in the material world and take different bodies and yeah, we know the rest, so it becomes tangled up. So the devotees of the Lord, the devotees of Lord Krishna, they say there is another plane besides that. There's the plane of dedication, and that is on the other side of the Brahma Jyoti, on the other side of the impersonal Brahman. There's no activity in the impersonal Brahman, but on the other side of it there is activity. Like here there is activity, and there is activity. So this is considered to be a perverted reflection of that world, of the Vaikuntha worlds of Krishna life. So everything is originating in Raj and Krishna life. Everything is originating there and then filtering down. So this here, and in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, it's called Purushottam Yoga. It's described as a banyan tree, but it's an upside down banyan tree. So the branches become the base and the roots become, because its original source is in the spiritual world, but it's rooted in aversion to the spiritual world. This is an allegorical example of the material world. It's rooted in aversion to the Supreme Lord. And the branches and the twigs, they all represent the different verses of the Vedas and the Karmakanda section of the Vedas, how to live in this world successfully, because everything is given in the Vedas for a successful life in this world, which means that one can live their life in here and gradually become Krishna conscious and go back to the spiritual world. That's called Varnashram Dham. If one perfectly follows their duties in Varnashram Dham for 100 lifetimes, then they automatically go back to the spiritual world. That seems like a lot. 100 lifetimes in eternity is not very much at all. If one can do that. So, you know, there's different ways of explaining it, but it said that by putting water on the root of the tree, the whole tree is fed. You don't have to put water on branches, but watering the root, everything is nourished. By putting food into the belly, the whole body is nourished. Right? By knowing, and in the Vedas it says, by knowing one, everything is known. By knowing that one thing, everything is known. And I think, well, that sounds pretty amazing, and Sri Damara said, yes, it sounds like a ludicrous proposal actually. How is it possible by knowing one thing, you know everything? It doesn't sound possible. And how does that work, you know? The Saraswati Thakur gave the example that if a street girl marries a prince, she becomes a princess. She's got nothing, she's a street girl, she's got nothing. She marries a prince, she's got everything. And that's the example that he gives. By knowing one, and we can know one, that means by knowing Krishna, by knowing God, we can know everything. You see, you meet these devotees, you know, who have been practicing for a long time, and like Srila Prabhupada, like Srila Sridhar Maharaj, like Srila Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada knew everything. I mean, materially and spiritually. He talked on so many subject matters, you know, everything. So many Gurudev talked on so many things. To know everything. There was never a question that they couldn't answer, because they knew the one, and so they knew everything. Krishna is within the heart of every living entity, like two birds seated in a tree. You got Jivatma, the spirit soul, seated in the heart, and the Paramatma, the super soul, is there with them. So that super soul and the Paramatma, and the Jivatma, they are always together. The Jivatma is nowhere where the Paramatma isn't, and the Paramatma is always with the Jivatma. No matter if you're a demigod, a human, an elephant or an ant, Paramatma is there. And he's accompanying the Jiva soul everywhere. So that relationship is so close and so sweet. And it said that like two birds sitting on the branch of a tree. One is doing lots of activity, looking for the fruits of the tree to eat, doing all sorts of things. The other one, Paramatma, is observing, is a witness. It's just witnessing what's happening, waiting for his friend, the Jivatma, to turn to him. And once the Jivatma is like, I'm so bewildered, please help me, God, I don't know what's happening. Then Paramatma might give some indication, because we all have our karma that's pushing us forward, and that karma is being we're being reminded of these things by the Paramatma, our activities, you know. You say, there's a lot of people, we don't believe in karma because it was in another lifetime, you know. How is it going to affect this lifetime? And how, and if it does, how is anyone going to know? How am I going to know? But that's the point, is that the Paramatma knows. The Paramatma knows everything. See that Krishna knows everything about the Jivatma, even what you're thinking. He actually knows better than us what is good for us. And that's a nice prayer is to say. Hare Krishna. That's a nice prayer is to say. My Lord, I've tried for so long, but nothing's happening. You please, you do it, you look after me. You can pray to the Lord like that. You can say, Lord, please help me. Lord, I'm lost in this material world. Please help me. And the Lord is our loving, is also involved in a loving search for his lost servant, and that's us. We're the Lord's lost servant, and we're his servants, and he is searching for us, because we left home, you know, and he says to Gopakumar, Hare Krishna. This is the Gopal Kumar, which is that book, Brihat Bhagavatamrita by Srila Sanatana Goswami, is the story of a boy from Govardhan who gradually obtains emancipation and comes back to Vrindavan as a cowherd boy. And Krishna says to him, "Why did you stay away? Why did you stay away from home for so long? How could you stand it? How could you tolerate my separation? You left me, and you've been passing lifetimes after lifetimes without me. Still, I know what trouble you took to come for me. I was with you. You went to beg from house to house. You searched for me everywhere. You were ridiculed by many. You were abused by many. Still, I know because I was with you, and after so much trouble, you've again come back to me." So Krishna is saying, you know, wherever you go, whatever you do, I'm always with you. I'll never leave you. I'm always with you, because the fact of the matter is that the Jivatma, the spirit soul, cannot exist without the association of the Supreme Lord. It cannot exist. That's why, because we are part and parcel of the Lord. So there's the whole thing. The super soul is there guiding the Jivatma, guiding us according to our karma. Our karma might be good, might be bad, might be mixed. So depending on that, we're being guided by the super soul. And sometimes we can catch it, you know, that song, "Listen to the super soul." Listen to the super soul, but sometimes it's not so easy, because we also have something called a mind. And you know, sometimes you can think, well, this might be the super soul, or it might be my mind. You know? So who to listen to? We don't want to listen to our mind.
You listen to what comes from the heart.
Listen to the heart. Well, the heart is the centre of all activities, because this is where Jivatma is residing with the Paramatma, and this is where consciousness is emanating from. Even the material scientists understand that consciousness is emanating from that part of the body. When we sort of have some realization about who we are and this path that we want to move along on, we will realize to do this is not easy. I can't do it by myself. I need the association of like-minded people. It's like anything, you know. If you want to be a millionaire, we associate with rich people. We associate with millionaires, and you might become a millionaire. So association is incredibly important. And there's that nice story about those two parrots that were two baby parrots actually, and they were taken by a hunter when they were very young, and they were taken to a village, and they were sold. One was sold to a dacoit type family, pretty rough family, and the other one was sold to a very pious family, very saintly type family. So a sadhu was coming to that village and begging some alms, doing muddy curry, which is taking a little here and there. You know, they go to the house, a little bit of rice here, a little bit of vegetables here, so muddy curry means like a bee. The bee goes to one flower, takes a little, goes to another flower, takes a little. So this muddy curry is the way the sadhus collect. So he was going collecting, and he came to the house of this pretty rough family, and came up to the door, and the parrot, "Get out of here, we don't want you, we don't want these strangers here, what do you want? We don't like you people just coming to the door, get out." And I thought, oh. He said, "Oh, it's a parrot." Okay. So he leaves anyway, and he goes up the road and comes to the house of the saintly people, and comes in and there, and then he hears, "Oh, come in, please sit down, have a drink of water, take, do this, and we'll look after you here, and I think, oh, he said, I was just at a house down the road, and there was another parrot just like you there, and he said, the parrot said, he's actually my brother, but we were taken when we were young, we were born in the same nest, and we were taken when we were young, and that parrot went to a rough family, and I was fortunate enough to come to this pious family. It's not his fault, because by nature, his nature is the same as me, but by association with that family, he's become like that, and I'm lucky because by association with this family, I've become like this. This is a good story for understanding that association is actually, in the words of Sridhar Maharaj, 99% of the process. So we definitely need association. If we're travelling, wherever we're climbing a mountain, that if we have association, then we have much better chance to reach the top. We'll be travelling on, we might be fatigued, we might, I can't do it, but so yeah, come with us. So some encouragement from our fellow devotees or our fellow seekers can always help us when we're feeling uninspired to carry on in this endeavour. That's what it's saying here. In this endeavour there can be no loss of diminution. On this path there can be no loss and no harm. The slightest practice of such a spiritual ideal saves one from the greatest kind of fear. And here, greatest kind of fear generally is considered to be repeated birth and death in this material world, especially falling into the lower species of life. Sridhar Maharaj says that's the general interpretation of that the greatest fear in this world is to repeated birth and death in this world. But he said also to mean Sahaja Mukti, impersonal liberation, because that impersonal liberation can take one away from Krishna consciousness. So he considers that to be the greatest type of fear. Just being in this material world is a fearful place where, like they say, there's danger at every step. We can do what we can do, and especially in this month. This month is the Purushottam month, and whatever we do, any little bit extra, any bit more, a few more rounds here, a bit more service there, like that, then it's multiplied many times. So this is actually a good time if we want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, even if we don't have any fixed program. If we just say, okay, well for this month I'm going to chant 1 round a day, or 2 rounds a day, or some fixed thing like that. For this month, this is a special month, and it's beginning today. And this month is non-different from Lord Krishna. He has manifested himself in this month. So every day, every hour, every minute, every second of this month, Lord Krishna is here. Because Lord Krishna is everywhere. Purushottam means the Supreme Person. He has manifested himself in this month, and this month only comes around every few years because of the calendar, the lunar calendar. Because of the way it operates every few years, they have to add another month and bring everything back in line. So this month is a great time for making advancement in spiritual life. And if we're aware of these things, if we decide, I don't, because I'm not making vows and things like that. I'm not very good at keeping that sort of thing. But whatever we do, even if we don't say, I'm going to do it like this, but whatever we do in this month is multiplied many times. So, next verse. I'll just read the next verse and then I'll finish with the talking for 40 minutes. I'm pretty good. This next verse, this is a really nice verse too. Yasat Makaburi Kia Purnanda Nabu Shaka Nantuscha Buddhayo Yasayanam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one, O beloved child of the Kurus. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Purport. A strong faith in Krishna consciousness that one should be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyasatmaka intelligence. Chaitanya Charitamrita states, Shraddha Sabdi Vishaya Kai Sudridha Nishaya Krishna Bhakti Keli Savakama Krita Hoy. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagements of one's reactions from past good and bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavour for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are Krishna conscious, for they are no longer subject to duality like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vyasadeva Sadhaniti Sadmahatma Sadulabha, by which one comes to know perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifest causes. As water on the root of a tree is automatically distributed to the leaves and branches. In Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayer to the spiritual master as follows: Yashyapashara Bhalavapashara, Yashyapashara Nagatika Dopi, Dayam Svanchis Dayam Sangam, Vayam Nagarosi Charanada Vindam. By satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day, and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body, not theatrical but practical. When there is no longer chance for sense gratification manifest in fruitive activities, one who is not firmly fixed in mind is deviated by various types of fruitive acts. Does anybody have any comments, questions, realizations on this? Woody?
Yeah. The first verse described that there's no loss or diminution for one who engages in service. I can understand that for someone that's steady in their service,
Steady.
steady,
Yeah.
yeah. But for someone who perhaps falls down or gives up the process or actually practices Krishna consciousness for some time and then gets covered by Maya or doesn't accept that Krishna is God anymore or even goes back to sinful activities. That's one thing. That whatever they have done is protected, is carried forward, even if they continue, they reject it. But what if they have committed offences to devotees?
Well,
So lift up the karma.
sorry?
It's karma. Lift up the karma versus what it's doing.
No, well, offence to devotees is different than karma. Offence to devotees goes straight to the soul. Karma is a bodily thing. Karma affects the body. Offence to Vaishnava is not as easy to commit as one might think. First of all, there has to be a Vaishnava to offend. Okay? So, if one does offend a Vaishnava, then that can knock them back for thousands of births. And if one does offend a Vaishnava and not see this, it said, knowingly or unknowingly, we can offend a Vaishnava. Knowingly is one thing, but unknowingly is another thing. If I unknowingly offend a Vaishnava, the reaction's still coming, even if as if I knowingly done it. There's no difference. The accidental offence, there's so many things. So, the recommended process is, if we know we've offended a Vaishnava, we have, like Ambarish Maharaj is the perfect example. Okay, so Devasa Muni offended Ambarish Maharaj, who was a pure devotee of the Lord. It's a great soul. But Devasa Muni was a great yogi, and there's a partial expansion of Lord Shiva. He's a great personality too. But he offended Ambarish Maharaj, and Ambarish Maharaj was such a great devotee that the Sudarsandis came and attacked Devasa Muni, and he's being attacked by the Sudarsandis. He's running all over the universe. He's Lord Shiva everywhere to Lord Brahma. Hey, can help me. Lord Brahma, I can't help you. Sudarsandis. Lord Shiva help me, Lord Indra help. Everybody saying, oh, we can't help you, what can we do? And so he finally got the advice, you have to go to Lord Narayan. He's the only one that can help. He went to Lord Narayan and said, please help me. And Lord Narayan said, I can't help you. He said, but it's your Sudarsandis, they're chasing me everywhere, trying to cut my head off. He said, it is my Sudarsandis, but you've offended a great Vaishnava, and that great Vaishnava, Ambarish Maharaj, is the only person that can help you. I advise you to go and seek his forgiveness. So that's what he done. And then everything was okay. So this is the general advice that's given. You can get the forgiveness of the person or the Vaishnava that you've offended, and then everything will be cool. It's an interesting story, in the last 100 years, that to do with Madhva Maharaj, Bhakti Dayapur, Madhva Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's brother. And one of his disciples had something with his finger, what was happening, but he went to the doctor anyway, and the doctor said, oh, it's really bad, it's going to spread, I'll have to cut your finger off. So he said, I'll come back in a couple of days or whatever and I'll do the operation. So this devotee went to Madhva Maharaj and he told him, look, they want to cut my finger off, And Madhva Maharaj said to him, do you, have you offended any Vaishnavas? Do you have any recollection of this? And he said, well, actually I have offended Vaishnava. And he said, go to that Vaishnava and ask for his forgiveness and everything will be okay. He said, that Vaishnava's passed away. He's dead. What do I do? So Madhva Maharaj said, go to the cremation gate and beg his forgiveness there. He was cremated. So he did. And then when he went back to the doctor said, "Oh, that's pretty amazing. Your finger doesn't need to be cut off anymore."
Wow.
Like that. So we have to be careful. Guru Dev would say, "I'm not afraid of anything," and he wasn't afraid of anything. He said, "But one thing I'm afraid of, Vaishnava Apparat. So I know if I see somebody has even some Krishna consciousness, even the slightest little bit, I'm very careful around them." So this is all through the scriptures. This is said, the greatest, could be the greatest fear actually, is Vaishnava Apparat, because it can destroy. But devotional service is very, very strong. And the one Prabhupada said in the purple, he didn't mention anything about Vaishnava Apparat. That's a good point actually. But he has said 1% devotional service performed in this life begins with 2% in the next life. So we can take heart from that and say, okay, so we're not perfect devotees. And Sri Rama said, I think to go back to Godhead in one lifetime is not so easy, You hear a lot about it. But, and no doubt there are many devotees that do, seriously. And Prabhupada would always say, get serious and become Krishna conscious and go back. There's no place for a gentleman. Go back to the spiritual world. So it is possible. And you see people like who have been leaving lately, like Agni Dev, and there's been quite a few actually, a few sannyasis, and Tridandi Maharaj. And although we don't know for sure what's happened to them, but their devotional activity was so great that even if they don't go back to Godhead, what sort of position are they going to take in relation to life? And next I think it says here that for a devotee who's not successful, they're guaranteed to be born into a family of a Brahmin family, a devotional Brahmin.
Where are they?
That's a good point, Woody. I don't have the exact answer to that, but Vaishnava Apparat is a serious thing. And sometimes we might wonder why I'm not making advancement, what I do anyway. There's Vaishnava Apparat, there's Dham Apparat, there's Nam Apparat, there's Seva Apparat, the Apparat means offence. So there can be offence to Vaishnava, offence to, and that's the worst Vaishnava Apparat, is even worse than Nam Apparat, because Nam Apparat, when we're committing offences to the holy name, the cure for that is the holy name. So we're committing offences, but we keep on chanting the holy name. I mean, what do we worship the Ganges River with? We worship the Ganga. We take some Ganga water and we offer that to the Ganga. So it's like that with Nam. We're offending Nam, but we're trying to get over our offences with more Nam. So Vaishnava Apparat is, all I can say is we need to be careful of that. I think about that a lot actually, because I think knowingly or unknowingly, Okay, we're going to chant some Hare Krishna now anyway for verse, so you'll be happy and
Yeah, you'll be doing some singing, some dancing, you'll be fine.
you'll be ecstatic, you'll be leaping through the swinging on the chandelier.